And welcome back into Cleveland Browns Daily. The Joe Thomas half hour of the program commences. We will talk about the game. We will talk about the weekend. But I did want to start with something that you put on social media this weekend that warmed my heart, and I want to know the genesis of it, and that is Titan Hugs. With the that's an amazing thing. If you go to the HOF's Instagram, like he basically calls his children to the hug. Where did this come from? How did it start? How did this come about?
Love a good hug.
So, yeah, it was like 5-6 years ago. I went on that show, The Titan Games, with The Rock. And so I was gone for like 2 weeks filming. And my kids were a little bit younger, but I got home and Annie was kind of pumping them up about where I was and what I was doing. And at the time, Moana was a big movie. So obviously they knew who The Rock was. They thought that was pretty cool. And I got home and they were like, "We want a Titan hug, Dad. Dad, you're like a Titan now." And so it just turned into this little tradition, like the best thing a dad ever gets, like the best feeling of your life is when you get home, whether it's work or a long vacation or something, and the kids, they just run and jump in your arms and give you a huge hug because they miss you so much. And it just feels like such a feeling of gratification and that love that they express to you and how much they missed you, because they don't always say it, as kids, but that was such a special thing for us, and we've been doing it for a long time. And unfortunately, just like everything with kids, they start to age out of that a little bit as they get older. But thankfully, we're right on the edge where still Reese, my baby, my 7-year-old, she wants to do it every time I get home. The older ones, you got to coax them a little bit more. But if you're gone long enough, they want one when you get home. And Jack, he's starting to be a little man, so he doesn't want to hug Dad quite as much. So he'll sometimes do it, and sometimes I got to wrestle him like I did in that video. But it's such a special thing. It's so cool, and it just reminds me, as a dad, like those are the best moments, those little things where they just jump into your arms and you can pick them up. And it's something that just doesn't last that long, so you got to cherish it.
It's awesome.
It's beautiful.
It's just beautiful.
It's beautiful.
And you needed it. Yeah.
I have like a video that I have saved. It's like if I've ever bummed out or whatever, I'll look at from when little Art and Drea was young, and we were like up on the kind of the landing, and she's like, "Daddy," and then she would run and dive into my arms, and then she'd get back up, go there, and "Daddy, I love you," and then run and dive. I'm like,
so good, man. It's
so
awesome.
good. And now she's going to be 18.
Right, blink. Yeah, that's the way it goes.
She's going to college.
Unfortunately, we can't blink away the rest of the season. We've got 3 more games to play.
It's like that Sandler movie. Remember that one where he had the remote and and then he realized maybe I shouldn't fast forward everything. I think we can.
Hoff, this is tough. I mean, it's brutal conditions. It's not a great effort, and it goes in the books the way that it does. You've been in the league a lot. You played a lot. You played games in unfortunately in circumstances like this. Like, what do you make of what you saw Sunday?
Well, it was very disappointing. It was not fun. It was all those things. There was no joy. For Browns fans, I think we're unfortunately in the last 20 years used to finding little wins towards the end of the season, reasons to watch, reasons to get excited. And for us this year, it's kind of been twofold, right? To finish the season, Myles Garrett on the cusp of NFL history, being able to potentially break one of the great records in our sport, and got another 1.5 this weekend. So that's been something that we can cheer for, we can get excited about. But the big one, too, is Shador Sanders. And can he become that franchise quarterback? Can he make enough of a statement and show enough growth that through these last games of the season, he can prove that, yes, I'm the guy and I'm worthy of being the player that you guys build around in the draft this offseason. And he was making great progress. He had that breakout game couple weeks ago that he had over 300 yards. He led the team down in their final drive to give him a chance to win, doing all the things that you want from your franchise quarterback. And it was so fun to be a part of that, right? I know we're not playing for a whole lot, but for us, that's our victory. And then in this game, to see the defense getting shredded, to see Shador kind of taking a step back in his progress to being that franchise quarterback, it was not fun, guys. It was a really tough one to pull any bits of good news or things that were fun to watch out of the whole game, because even some of your young players that have been playing so well and doing awesome stuff like Quinshon Judkins, they couldn't get going because there wasn't any running lanes for him in this game. So it was definitely a tough one, man.
Take us in the film room, because this is something it's started to bother me, and I noticed it. I've noticed it all season, but it was really apparent in this game against Chicago, where we have in our run plays, we'll have one, maybe even 2 guys, and when I mean not make their block, like it's one thing you kind of get in somebody's way and it maybe isn't the best block. I'm talking completely whiffing where guys are just being able to run freely at Quinshon Judkins behind the line of scrimmage. How do we clean this up? How do we deal with it? There are a couple plays where we had a guy out there who was there to block as a tight end, and he just completely whiffs. We had another one where we got, a 340-pounder on a 250-pounder, and he completely whiffs. And if I'm Quinshon, I'm getting frustrated, and I think it's affected already his running style. He's immediately, trying to hop and pick as opposed to just getting north-south because he knows he's trying to see if there's any room anywhere, and there isn't.
Yeah, I mean, one is coaching, right? Are we coaching the fundamentals that it takes to get those guys in the positions to make those blocks? Double teams, for the most part, you're hip to hip, you're shoe to shoe, you're square, you're driving from low to high, you're moving those guys off the ball, you're keeping 4 eyes on that linebacker and on that defensive lineman or on the linebacker and the safety, depending on who the combination is. But they're obviously not getting that, right? And then it's a question of, is this something that's not being coached, or is it these players not good enough to get it done? Because it's unacceptable. You've got this star rookie running back that wants to show the world what he can do, but more than any running back in the NFL, for the most part, he's getting hit behind the line of scrimmage on almost any run, and it's changing his reads.
More than half of his carries. More than half of his carries.
He's adjusting how he's playing to accommodate the poor blocking in front of him, which is a huge problem, right? You want him building good habits when you're a young player, because those habits are hard to break. And if he's changing his path because of guys that are missing blocks consistently, if he's changing his running style and going away from the things that make him great because he's consistently worried about where the free runner is going to come from, we're holding him back from his growth into becoming a star running back in the NFL that has a chance to be a big piece of what we're trying to build in the future.
So I remember from I'll use 2014 when you were here with Kyle, and then even, throughout the Stefanski era, and I don't know if I have the right terminology, you'll tell me if I do, but let's say we're running a wide zone to the right. The tight end is at the beginning is on that side, but then he is at a split zone where he comes in, he's the one who seals off the backside.
Yeah, there's a lot of different terminology for it. There's away is how you call it, where the tight end's going away, or across, yak, Y across, kick out. There's a bunch of different terminology, but it's obviously a really popular play, especially when you're running those play actions, because a lot of times tight end's coming back, then he bluffs like a Y bluff, where you think he's coming back, all of a sudden he fakes, boom, now he's open in the flat, quarterback pulls it. You can either dump it off to him for some easy yards, or then a lot of times there's a shot that's behind it, whether it's a deep dig coming from the other side or one of those post corners, different things that open things up. But anyway, sorry, go ahead. I think that was the beginning of the question. My fault.
We have our block rate on that is 0. He's never blocking that backside end, and Quinshon's getting creamed. Even sometimes when he's got room to run to the right, he's being able to run it right down the line on him. And it's just so frustrating, because even where you maybe have the guys on the front side of the play actually getting their blocks, which unfortunately has been rare, and we know our O-line's been decimated, but then you have one where it gets just run down from the backside, or he gets hit in the backfield because he's going this way, and the guy just comes and gets him. And you're like, you're a big guy. They're just getting their way.
Yeah, I mean, that block is one of the most important blocks when you're running the outside zone, wide zone, Stefanski, Shanahan, those schemes, because that's the player that you're trying to put in conflict a lot of times, right? When you have those across blocks, or you're trying to hold him with the quarterback boot, that's where the seam is, where the running back is trying to get back to with his cut. And you have to be able to control that guy with either a boot, you have to control him with that tight end or that H-back coming across and blocking him, or you have to be able to control him when you're pulling that ball out and you're breaking contain with your quarterback, who's now getting outside, and he's either sealing that defensive end, the tight end is, and we're trying to get around him and maybe pulling up for some of those shots that go back across the field. And then maybe sometimes you pull a guard out there for extra protection, or you're leaving him free and you're just trying to get outside of him and allow the quarterback to stay on the move. But that guy being in conflict is so important. If you remember back, man, it would have been 2012 Z. I'm not sure if you were here at that point yet or not, but we played Kyle Shanahan when he was coaching the Washington Redskins at the time. And Kirk Cousins
had to start. Yeah, I was not with the Browns, but I know this game.
They ran outside zone and then just the boot where you pull it and you leave the defensive end unblocked in all of those. Probably 50 times. They just kept going back and back and back to it, because we had a stubborn defensive coordinator at the time, so we just stayed in our defense. And that backside defensive end was in a blender all day long, because as soon as he would run hard down the line of scrimmage to try to take away that gap that he has to cover, boop, you pull it, right? As soon as he wasn't running super hard down the line of scrimmage, there's a little bit of a gap. And if you get the defense running with the outside zone blocking schemes, you get that running back running hard like he's trying to run around the defense to the front side, that cutback is where you see those big, huge home run hits, because it only takes half a yard or a yard and a little bit of a pause from that defensive end, because now he's trying to make an arm tackle. And if he can't make that, and there's just a little bit of space and the running back can run through it, there's like nobody left, especially if those safeties are not crashing down hard because they're worried about that play action. So that's kind of the core of this system, is being able to control that backside defensive end without always having to block him.
Yeah, and we are not doing that.
No.
Not
And Hoff,
doing
Z and I were talking about this earlier in the show, and I wanted to throw this at you. We got 3 games left. Like, is this just who we are in special teams? It's just who we are on the offensive line. It's just who we are in the run game.
Yes.
Like, is there any reason to believe that any of this can possibly get fixed in with what remains? Or do you just have to try to have some sort of success despite it? And if that is the case, how do you define success here?
Yeah, it gets more difficult because there's nobody they can bring in to replace the people that are not getting the job done. You're not going to completely change your system. Yeah, you can add wrinkles and you can add little new nuances and new plays with each game plan, but there's really no answers to be able to do anything differently. This is the coaches you have. This is the scheme you have. These are the players you have right now. You try to make the most of it. You try to find those little victories, but there's not a whole lot that you can change right now to make it vastly different than what we're seeing, other than better execution. But at this point in the season, how do you expect better execution when, by and large, all the formula, all the groceries that are going into your delicious meal are not delicious, beautiful farm-to-table products? So it becomes very difficult. And like you said, like, where are your little victories? What are the things you're looking for? And, you hark back to, all right, how do we give Shador Sanders the best opportunity to show us what he has? It didn't happen last weekend. Clearly, the challenge is you don't have an offensive line that is all of your starters from the beginning of the year. Actually, you only have one, which is Joel. And so you're working with a patchwork offensive line that is in front of Shador. How do you find plays and how do you find ways to get him blocked up to be able to allow him to throw the football down the field? That is a big challenge moving forward.
I mean, here's the thing. We ran 14 designed runs, so eliminating the 2 Shador scrambles. 14 designed runs. Our longest run of the day was 4 yards.
I heard you guys say this on the broadcast yesterday, and when you brought that stat
I
up,
said
I thought that can't be right. You said it on the broadcast. I thought that can't be right.
No,
the
it was
long
right.
Designed run was 4 yards?
Yeah. When he had a 3-yard run, it was like noteworthy when Quinjon did. I'm like, wow, that's his second biggest run of the day.
Jeez.
I mean, you have that. You have Shador under pressure 50%. Last week it was over 60%. And then you take, the 2 biggest plays on offense were the 47-yarder and the 42-yarder to Isaiah Bond, who, again, I love this kid. He consistently gets behind NFL defenses. But both of those, he was getting hit in the gut as he threw those balls. I mean, there's nothing easy going on now for us on offense. Nothing easy. And then we make it worse by getting penalties on first down. And now all of a sudden you're at 1st and 15, and we're not a great behind-the-sticks team. Now Shador's able to make plays, and we've seen that. But, you got a perfectly thrown ball to Jerry Jeudy that goes off of his chest and becomes an interception. It's just this is tough, man. And it's just not easy.
And I think the next thing, Hoff, and and again, this is going to be for the next month. This is what this is going to be because Kevin said it. He's the starter the rest of the way. How do you evaluate Shador Sanders amidst this?
It's really difficult. I think the coaching that goes on individually to Shador is really important. And hopefully there's enough trust that's been built between him, quarterback coach, offensive coordinator, head coach, the people that are the communicators to him about what they want to see from him, where they need to communicate very clearly, like, we want you to not worry about everything that's happening around you. Very difficult. We want you to make the reads that we're coaching to throw the ball to the spot that we're telling you to do. And if those guys on the other side don't do their job, that's on them. Yes, we want them to do that, but we need to be able to evaluate you. How well can you do the things that we're asking you to do? Not necessarily the result. Was it a catch? Was it an interception? But we need you to go through your progressions, to take your drops, to deliver the football on time to where it's supposed to be based on the read and the coverage that you're looking at. And you need to do that regardless of what's happening around you. It's tough enough for a veteran quarterback to do those things and not start changing what he's doing and trying to overcome the inefficiencies and the inadequate play around you. But that is the only way you're going to be able to truly, from a coaching standpoint, be able to assess the growth and the progress of Shador Sanders.
It's very, very difficult.
And you've got to make – and here's the other thing. Like, what's so
critical
clear
too.
is – well, it's critical that you need to understand that. And I guess if there's a quarterback that in this next draft, regardless of kind of how you feel about anybody, that you're head over heels for, you have to make that move. But the ideal situation, I've said this from the beginning, is that you feel like there's enough there with Shador because, let's be honest, we got a lot of needs on offense. Like, we need another receiver. To me, the idea, if you get a guy, a Carnell Tate, you get the kid from Arizona State, you get like a real one, you have him, Judy, and Bond. Now I feel like we're cooking with a little bit of gas there.
Weapons.
And Fan, you got some weapons. You got speed. You've got a couple big-time guys, and I think Judy in that role might even be better suited for what he's doing there. And then our offensive line is a disaster. So you're going to need, like, it would not surprise me if our first 3 picks next year are receiver, tackle.
Yeah.
Like, we need help. Bigly, badly. So we don't have now. It's all about the quarterback. I think we all know that. That's the truth in this league. But we don't have the luxury of going again, giving up multiple picks to get a quarterback. Now we might end up there organically at the way that things are trending. We just don't have that luxury right now.
No, and so then as an organization, I mean, this is why this offseason is going to be so fascinating and critical and that's why I asked the question about Shador, because that's the number one thing is that allows for your plan to be different. So how do you evaluate amidst this? And that's what makes it very difficult. In terms of positives, look, not many, but the things that jump out to me obviously are Myles, who inches closer, and God, I hope he gets it this week. Just get it this week and put it away at home. Give these
Next week
fans
against
something.
the Steelers could be pretty cool. They'll follow
Either one, whatever.
One of
but
two.
get Josh. Josh is the MVP.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about the Strahan one with Favre, where Favre took the dive, like this one, you would, have Myles bring down Josh. Like, that would be pretty cool if that's the way that it finally happens.
Supposedly they said yesterday on the broadcast, I don't know if this is true or not on the television broadcast, but that Caleb Williams was kind of told, just if he's coming at you, just throw it away. Like, don't let him sack you.
Oh, they didn't want it to happen?
Yeah, well, you got 1.5 anyway.
Yeah, there was something about that about Pittsburgh, too, that, like, Pittsburgh said hold him or whatever, somebody on that broadcast. So I'm sure there's going to be everybody try to prevent it, but, like, and I think that's the thing that's really cool. And, Hoff, you identify with that better than anybody. Excellence amidst teams that aren't good. And what he's done this year to just continue to do it, it's just the truest sign of professionalism every single week.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's so hard to get sacks against a team that's winning because they're not going to take any chances. Like you said, throw it away, right? They're not going to take the sack. Yep. They're not going to hold on to that football longer to push the ball down the field. And with Myles looking like maybe he kind of tweaked his hip flexor or something like that during the game in bitter cold temperatures, which your muscles don't work very well already, to see him out there still hustling, chasing down the ball carrier and giving everything that he's got to his teammates and to the defense and to this team. It's just an amazing sign of his professionalism, of his focus, of his ability to block out the noise and the chaos that's happening around him and to still, without a doubt, do anything it takes to get your job done. I mean, I have a tremendous amount of respect for him, and I think it would be incredible. I'm so excited and hopeful that he can get this sack record this weekend against Buffalo and then shatter it with a few more against Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
It would be awesome. I also think, as we're talking about this defense, Carson Schlesinger continues to play great, 14 more tackles. He's had double digits now in 4 straight games. He's clearly hobbling out there as well and playing through it. But I know it's been 2 games, but maybe we weren't giving, and I think we gave him a lot of praise, but maybe we were not giving Malik Collins enough praise, because the biggest change really is that Malik Collins hasn't been playing and our defensive line, we're getting gashed in the run game.
Yeah.
He was dominant in terms of his ability to collapse the pocket. His pass rush win rate was the best of anybody on the interior. At the time he got hurt, he had the most sacks of any defensive tackle. Maybe he was really having a season that was even better than we realized, because it was in some ways getting overshadowed by Myles.
There's definitely a synergy amongst defensive line play, right? If you got one great one, offenses can do a lot of things from a scheme standpoint to try to take you away, but it gives them vulnerabilities elsewhere. When you've got 3 or 4 guys that can get after the quarterback and cause problems, you can't adjust your scheme to be able to handle those guys. And that's run and pass. Like, when you have got a guy like Myles, I remember playing against the Indianapolis Colts. He used to have Robert Mathis, Dwight Freeney, right? They didn't care about stopping the run, right? They just run up the field and try to sack your quarterback. You could kind of take advantage of those 2 guys because it creates lanes underneath to run the football.
Yep.
You got guys inside that are a little bit smaller, softer, right? It's a team on defense that's built to rush the passer. You can kind of take advantage of those guys. When you got 4 dogs, I mean, we saw it last year in the Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles. There's no answer for that. You can't add more blockers. Eventually, you just don't have any guys that catch the football if you got more blockers in the line of scrimmage, and it makes it really difficult to block interior guys with more than just a 1.5 block, because typically, if I'm a guard or a center, I can help out on Collins in the middle, but I still got to look to my outside because I got a big problem on the outside with a guy like Myles Garrett. And so just losing one of those guys, it's not like you just subtract 1 from the grand total. Like, it's really like 1.5 or 2, because now they can easily say, all right, one-on-one with the replacement, the backup, and then now we can add additional resources to the other guys that have always been a problem that are usually getting one-on-ones when you got a guy like Malik Collins in there.
Yeah, he was playing really, really well.
Yeah, he was. And look, Schwessinger's been unbelievable. Bond gets behind the defense consistently. Quinshawn, there's some things, but in a season where much more was Fannin was 14 targets yesterday. Like, he really nice.
Some were
player.
saying it was too many targets.
Some were saying too many.
Oh yeah. Did you see his media availability?
I did not.
Oh yeah.
Oh really?
He was basically, there was a question that implied to him, like, are you getting the ball too much because it feels predictable and that's why interceptions are being thrown? To him.
Okay, time for the Trench Report, brought to you by Big Fig, the mattress made for more, crafted in Cleveland, just like our Browns. Your buddy Joel Bitonio, he just keeps going, man. He just keeps going. You guys have so much in common, Hoff. What type of pride does it give you to see your buddy still performing at this high of a level? Everything else is kind of falling apart around him on that front, but he shows up every single Sunday.
It gives me great pride to watch him out there, still doing his thing, still playing great football, bringing his hard hat every single day, doing everything that you'd expect out of the perfect offensive guard, the perfect representation of what it means to be a Cleveland Brown, to reflect the hardworking blue-collar mentality of the fan base. And it's so cool because I just think back to my own Hall of Fame speech and talking about count on me and how important that is. And as an offensive lineman, we've always been the type that we want to be there for our teammates, but we never want that attention. And I think Joel typifies that. I mean, a guy that consistently shows up. He came back for this season. We weren't sure if he was going to be going to retire or if he was going to come back. He decided to come back, and he's been nothing but a consummate pro, just like Myles. Hardly ever noticed him this season, which is exactly what you want to do as an offensive guard. As the other 4 starters around him have all been injured and have left the game, he's still out there playing great football in the most horrible conditions you could possibly imagine there in Chicago, and doing it the right way. And I'm so hopeful that he's going to put together enough statistics, enough of a resume to make that Hall of Fame, because he is absolutely a Hall of Famer in my book. And I really hope that playing this season, and who knows what happens after this, he's garnering the attention in the same way that I did, that, like, look, this is not a very good team. He's not played on a lot of great teams, but he has been exceptional in spite of the poor play and the poor teams that he's been around. And I think that should definitely bump him up in Hall of Fame voters' eyes when they think about how challenging the situations have been throughout nearly his entire career.
Yeah. There's no doubt about it. All right, Hoff, injuries are obviously not something that's very fun in this game. Two of the biggest stars in the league go down yesterday, Patrick Mahomes, Micah Parsons. Chiefs officially eliminated from the playoffs. It's the first time since 1998 that the AFC playoffs will not feature either Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, or Patrick Mahomes.
My God.
It's amazing. I mean, it's crazy.
That's a crazy one. They have, and by the way, those guys haven't played in quite some time.
Yeah.
It's, the Chiefs, to me, have been a lovable, iconic franchise dynasty, which is unique, I think. Mm-hmm. Of course, there's people out there that hate him, but Patrick is such a likable star, in my opinion. He's one of the greatest we've ever seen, but he's also an amazing teammate, always doing and saying the right things. Andy Reid, the same way. It's hard to hate them, even though they've been so great. And you always hate the teams that are always there on top. Just like we all hated the Patriots, but they were cheating.
Why do we
sons
hate
of guns
so much in this country?
And it was easy to hate those guys, but with the Chiefs, it's always been different, and to see them miss the playoffs and to see Patrick get hurt, being on a team right now and being a fan of a team that's 3-11, it's hard to say that there's a lot of love lost there for what's going on with the Kansas City Chiefs this season. But to me, the playoffs should have a team like that dynasty that everybody's gunning for, that team that, people want to knock off and they feel like that's their measuring stick. And to see them not be there this year and also to see Mahomes not finish the season, to me, it just tarnishes the playoffs a little bit.
It's the first time in his career that he's not in the worst-case AFC Championship game.
That's right.
So
that's
year
right.
9.
As a
this
starter.
is the first time that he hasn't. The worst he's ever done is the AFC Championship loser.
Yes.
It's the worst he's done. And the two people who beat him are Brady and Burrow.
That's it.
And that's it. That's the list.
Other
than that, he's playing in the title every year. So it's an absurd start to a career. It's a changing of the guard in the AFC a little bit too. This will be whatever they do, they're going to be on their third machination of Mahomes. And, of course, this was the same year I think that Brady tore his.
It was the ninth
season. They both
had won 3 Super Bowls at this point.
Yeah, a lot of similarities there. We'll see if Patrick has that second half the way that Brady ended up having. But obviously his comes much later. Brady's was early in the season, this one at the end. So this will affect the start of next year, obviously, for Kansas City as well. And look, you're just seeing crazy stuff around the league. You're seeing results that are kind of crazy. I don't know if you got a chance to see it all, Hoff, the situation down in Cincinnati with Burrow and his press conference, just the last couple of weeks with him. It looks like he is fed up in every way. I covered him since he was a ninth grader. I don't ever recall him ever talking the way he talked yesterday postgame, ever.
He wants out of there.
Yeah.
He either number one, he definitely wants out of there, but he may be like, I'm done with this, period. Yeah, there's a little twinge of that in there, which.
Well, Carson Palmer did that there. He said, fine, I'm done.
Yeah.
And he did. I mean, that I don't know. Maybe that's in the
I
cards.
definitely think he wants out of there.
Yeah, that's pretty.
For sure.
But this has been a weird year. I mean, I don't know if Baltimore's going to get in, Hoff. Think of the AFC. No Chiefs, no Bengals, maybe no Ravens. If not now, when? Buffalo, right?
And that's the top. That's probably those are probably considered the top 4 quarterbacks in the NFL. If all things being equal, everybody's healthy.
If everybody's healthy, and Josh is left standing, it's got to be their year, Hoff.
Yeah, it's a really crazy year. I think with the Bengals. I mean, it's just a shame what that ownership group has done to that franchise and Joe Burrow. I mean, they were set up. I mean, they were in the Super Bowl. They had all these young stars. They had done the hard thing, which is to draft these great players, including Joe Burrow at quarterback. And all you got to do is re-sign them and put the pieces in place around them. Bring those guys back. Keep them healthy. Keep them together. And right on defense. And it's like they just wanted to save money instead of trying to build championships. And everybody's fed up with it. I mean, look what the fans had to deal with this weekend in Cincinnati. They didn't even clear the snow off their seats because they're too cheap to do that. It's just incomprehensible.
It's a violation of league rules, by the way.
Right. They broke league rules to save a few dollars. In Green Bay, they always have snow, right? So they have this team of people that are just neighborhood guys that when they get snow, they're like, hey, we'll pay you $5 an hour. You get to hang out in Lambeau Field and clean snow off. And they get 10,000 people that show up on game day. I'm sure the Bengals could do that and hand out some free stadium chili or Skyline chili. I mean, nobody really likes that stuff anyway, but I mean, at least they would offer them something and to not even give any effort to try to do that and to cover it up by saying, well, the snow, the fans could have easily wiped it off with their hands, or the ushers were trained to be able to help them. I mean, what a joke. It's just one thing after another there.
Of the great scene at the end of Christmas Vacation, of all the no good ways to try and save a buck.
That's right.
Come on.
A great Christmas
Come on,
drop there, Z. But yeah, come on. And
they're making you, if you were a Bengals legend, they're making you pay to come to your own like enshrinements.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to come in the Bengals Ring of Honor? Cool. Buy yourself a ticket.
Yeah. Go sit in the 300 level, Boomer Esiason. I mean, it just doesn't make – it makes no sense. I can't understand it, and I don't blame Joe Burrow one bit for being just frustrated and fed up because he sees the writing on the wall. When that's the ownership and that's their mentality that they're taking towards the team, the players, their fan base, right, then it's like, how are we ever going to have success here? You might – maybe if things go just absolutely perfect, win a Super Bowl, but there's no ability to sustain success when that is your mentality and that is your approach.
If we know you got to run, NFL announcing the league headed back to Munich in 26 and 28. Can we assume correctly that means the HOF is returning to Munich in 26 and 2028?
He's the prodigal son, dude.
I will be there.
Can you get us in that? Can you use your connections to get us in that game?
I don't know if I have connections to get us in the game, but I sure hope we would be, because that would be fantastic. Seeing Browns fans take over the Marian Platz throughout Munich, drinking big 1-liter steins of beer and pretzels as big as a hubcap. I mean, talk about pure joy right there. Getting the great Z to come over and I can show you my adopted homeland and all the amazing little places that I've found that are incredible, and go up into the mountains, do some hikes. I mean, it would be a fantastic trip. All right, I'll call Roger as soon as we get off here and make sure it happens.
You're the HOF, and I feel like you are Munich's favorite American.
There's not many of us. So the list is easy. It's like when I was in high school, I was a baritone and I was the second chair, right? You should be proud of that. Well, there was only 2 of us, so it was not a lot of competition. But certainly you're right. I am Munich's chosen son from the American NFL football side of things, and they better bring me back because I'm going to be there on the sidelines one way or the other.
Hoff, you're the best, buddy. Great talking to you as always. Thank you as always, my friend. We'll do it again soon.
Before we get Hoff, is there any more opportunity for people to get Hoff beef if they want it?
So we still have some beef. We still have some holiday boxes on the website. Shipping, unfortunately, cannot be guaranteed to get there before Christmas, but you can always print off a nice little picture and put it in a box and give it to somebody and say, hey, this is going to be here tomorrow. Or potentially,
sounds like it would work pretty good for New Year's Eve.
I was going to say, right.
How New Year's better way to ring in the New Year's Day?
HallOfFameBeef.com. We still got delicious goodies and holiday boxes available if you're looking for that perfect gift for a loved one, or maybe just a little good way to celebrate with some vino on the New Year's.
Oh, baby.
Ooh. Great talking to you, Hoff, as always.
We love you.
Love you guys. Appreciate it.
All right, that was the Joe Thomas half hour of the program, and that was Cleveland Browns Daily. Thanks for listening, everybody. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.